in the world. This is Be Live in 5 talk show with grand unveiling Tina and Steven. Hello, Tina.
Hi, Steven.
Yeah, I mean, we're just want to check, just to double check quickly that we're actually live, and we are live. It's actually showed up. That was good.
Did you share it to the Livers group?
Yeah, it's got. I've still got Lively working, so it's gone everywhere.
Awesome.
So welcome to the show. Now, it's obviously the question is, will anybody come and watch? Because we're actually going out. We're not paid to do this. That's our first observation of the day. We haven't paid to go live, and appear in your feed. So if you can't see us, it is very, very difficult, actually, given the changes that Facebook are making. But on with the show. I'm going to my saved agenda for today, and this is Be Live in 5 talk show. And first of all, I want to give a shout out to Shamis, I hope I've pronounced that correctly, in the Be Livers group. If you have an iMac and you're struggling to sort out your camera settings on the iMac, because normally it just shows everything that's behind you, then there's a program from the people who made Ecamm, which is called Eyeglasses, and that will sort it out. Now, I mentioned this the other day, I can actually post that back to Facebook now. That disappeared the other day. It's back. To everybody who's watching us, welcome to the show. If Robert's watching us, we know you're out there, Robert. Yeah. If you want to come in and
he's
talk.
He's not there yet because he says, hey, 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 when he comes in.
True. I just want to say, I mean, I enjoyed reading the predictions by everybody. Mm-hmm. It was a good post, wasn't it?
It was. It looks like we're all at least most of us are on the same page as far as what the top things were in 2017. So it's interesting that so even when Steven and I, video was at the top, in particular Facebook Live. But what was interesting to me is that I just said Facebook Live, and Steven said Be Live specifically, where I was more general in what I said. And I think part of the reason for that is because I did not become a live streamer until Be Live. And you were a live streamer before Be Live. And so Be Live is what kind of made the difference for you. But since I only came onto live streaming once Be Live was here, it didn't even occur to me to make that link. I just said Facebook Live. Right. But Facebook Live is not great without Be Live.
Oh, it's true. It's true. And I misspoke then because I knew Robert was watching us. It is a great post, Robert. It is a brilliant post. It will be an evergreen post because we can watch people's predictions for 2018.
That's right.
And see whether they come true or not. So
at least until October of 2018 when you do a new one for 2019.
Indeed. As you say, you're welcome to join us on camera. I'm going to copy the link and post it now because our ability to post to Facebook is back. So there you are, and it should appear in the comments in a moment, and it should feed through here. If you do want to join us on camera, please do. Let's talk about the post, which is the best post, not was, and about the people who appear in it, because 10% are actually on the screen now, which is good. Yeah. Right. So to join us in the broadcast, just click that link, and okay, an invitation accepted. As we say, take that off the screen now.
Of course it's going to come on.
Of course you are. We knew you'd be here if you could be. Sure. You have a different background. Where are you?
It was a rough week getting that post together.
Oh, I'm sure. A lot of work. Especially when people send you a quote that equals a book. I don't know who would do that. But.
Well, it's funny because I told everybody a paragraph or two.
Meow.
Have you met me?
Oh, that's right. You're Tina Shang.
That was difficult for me to even condense it down that much.
No, the hard part wasn't necessarily the quotes itself. The hard part was first of all setting them up on the right size for the picture.
And now you're
Yep.
frozen.
Right. Okay. This is live video, and
That is a
anything can happen.
hilarious pose to be frozen.
Hello.
And Robert's
Hello?
coming back. You're coming back.
Slowly.
Bring me
There
back.
you
Bring me
go.
back.
We're fingers crossed. We were waiting for you to return.
There
We knew
you
you
go.
would.
No, the hardest part was working on those pictures, the right sizing, and to be able to get them to tweet out as a picture.
Yeah.
That
Oh, yeah.
was the hard part, because anybody can do the little tweet thing and everything else, and it comes out as all words with the link. I wanted the actual pictures to go out as Twitter cards, so I had to set up 18 of those.
Well, yeah, it's not an easy task because
No, actually, when I
let's give
figured
it-
it out, I got it going and it was fast. But it was like it took me a week just to figure out how to do the first one.
Mm-hmm. And how many people did you ask? Did you get a response from everyone you asked?
Oh no.
So be grateful that you didn't, because you'd still be working on it.
I actually asked 65 people.
Oh my goodness.
I actually
Wow.
got 24 responses saying they would do it. I received 20 actual quotes, and 2 of them didn't fit what we needed to be done on the page.
Right.
Did I freeze again?
Yep.
Yeah, you kind
I don't know
of.
why it's being such a problem.
Right, I'm just
Where are you? You're in a different place. I haven't seen you in this place.
I got sent to the basement.
That's why. That's why you don't have a good connection.
I got a window right in front of me.
Yeah, but you're still in the basement. People in the basement don't need internet.
It's better lighting down here than what I normally am. So, what was your biggest surprise when you were reading them?
I don't know. I'd have to go back and skim over it again.
Because
I
they
think
did
that-
vary from person to person. They varied around
Yeah.
to different.
Yeah, I think that the heavy concentration on live video,
Yes.
because you've asked a variety of people, not all of whom broadcast regularly. So live video was one thing, and there wasn't any mention of other social networks to a large extent. I mean, it was all sort of aimed at Facebook in the main, wasn't it?
Basically, live streaming and video were the keywords that I heard a lot.
Mhm.
Facebook, obviously, being the biggest platform, was probably the best. Chatbots came up. I brought up chatbots in my part.
Mhm.
I know one of the other guys, Avery Ratz, over in Israel, he brought up LinkedIn,
Mhm.
because LinkedIn's going through a lot of change right now.
Yeah, I'm watching LinkedIn. They're doing some good things. So, and I still believe, even before the changes, which I hope was going to make it better, it was still the best platform for B2B.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Twitter's okay for B2B, and even Facebook is getting better. There's more people doing B2B on Facebook now than there used to be. But I still think LinkedIn edges out just a little bit further than everybody else in that.
Now that they added all the video,
It's going to get better,
But-
I think.
I personally think they're going to add live stream video to it. But minimum live stream. I don't think
Yeah.
they're going to let people go half hour, 40 minutes. It's going to stay in that 10 to 15 minute range.
That'd be okay.
I think is smart.
Indeed. We're discussing a blog post to which I've just posted the link. You should be able to find it. It's called The Best of 2017 and What's Coming 2018, or something like that. That's close, isn't it, Robert? It's close. It's forecast 2018. And if you go and read the blog, you'll see predictions from 18 people. You see Tina and I, and Mike Alton is there too. I'm just...
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because you can almost tell what industry and what platform the person favors from reading their quotes.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, when I look through the quotes right away, I mean, Tom Ferry, he is the #1 real estate coach in the nation, actually globally now. I mean,
Yep.
Tom Ferry and he's all about video and everything else. And then Christine Gritman, up in lower New York, upper New Jersey, she's all about video, but also in a different area. Leslie Samuel, he's a blogger.
Okay.
But he's getting more into other areas. You guys know probably Ian Anderson Gray.
Mm-hmm. I think one of the things that stood out for me was, and I don't remember the person. Sorry, maybe hopefully you will. But they trying to remember how they put it. The fluffy ads are going away or something like that. Basically, you're going to have to pay to play. Was like his key takeaway. If you don't have good data to measure your return on investment, then you're kind of missing out and you're behind the game.
Jack
There you go.
From the Creation Agency. Yes, that was Jack, where he wrote, "Fluffy social marketing is going to disappear."
There you go. I don't think it's going to yet, but I definitely think that everyone is going to have to start to pay to play, and it is affordable. I mean, everybody, kind of moans and complains about having to pay for advertising, but really Facebook advertising, with the ability that you have to narrow the people that you're trying to reach so specifically, is incredibly affordable. So just get over it and spend some money. You don't have to spend, $25,000 a month or even a year on advertising, but you're going to have to spend something, especially when we get to something I know that you've got on the agenda later.
Well, it's something I've got Facebook Explore, but it's similar to that, isn't it? And I know that
that's a lot of people are very upset with Facebook Explorer if it goes through.
Yeah, it's interesting that they didn't test in the U.S. first. It's almost like they had an inkling that would be a bad idea.
Oh yeah,
it's too big of a market. They can't test it there.
No, they've tested in 6 countries in Europe, UK not included. And to tell you that behind this is effectively a new tab or a new option on Facebook that you can go and explore posts from companies. In other words, from business pages. And unless a company or business profile owner pays, they will not appear in your newsfeed anymore. So, in other words, you have to make a choice to go and look at adverts.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, a lot of the stuff that Facebook does, of course, is driven by the fact that their bottom line. I mean, obviously, they want to make money. So a lot of what they do is driven by that. But also, when you're talking about the personal timeline of individuals, people constantly complain about what they see in their timeline. Like, I don't want to see this business page and I don't want to see that. And so you're complaining about this. So essentially, if things go through that they're testing now, you won't see that unless it's paid. The problem is then you're just going to see the people that are the big players in the game. So you're going to see the exact same ads and crap that you've always seen on television that you're going to now get to see on Facebook, and you're never going to get to see your local businesses. And that's one of the things that I think Facebook has been amazing for small businesses, because it leveled the playing field. And that's just going to go away if it goes down this road.
Mm-hmm.
I think
there was another article from TechCrunch just recently, where the Facebook's VP of Newsfeed, Adam Missouri, writes, "We currently have no plans to roll this test out further, but that doesn't mean that Facebook won't move forward with implementing a similar change more widely if users prefer their news feeds just to be posts from friends."
Yeah, and I think people, ideally, that's what people think they want, but what we think we want, what we actually want, is not always the same thing. So I think I enjoy seeing, it's how I learn about new businesses. There's a new business, a relatively new business in my area that's called Real Food Gratitude, and they make batches of food that's healthy, organic food, and cater to people who have digestive issues and different allergy sensitivities and things. And you go and pick those up like twice a week. I would never have found out about this business if it did not show up in my Facebook feed. because I'm not out in the community in the circles where I would have learned about that.
And it's all about variety, isn't it? And having different things in your timeline. If it was posts from friends all the time.
My friends are kind of boring, and what they're sharing is usually that's something that comes from an interesting business page, because business page are not always business.
There is a way to
fix entertainment. What?
There is a way to fix that, by the way. You could get some new friends.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but they're sharing a lot of the things that they're going to share that's going to show up in my feed anyway are going to come from a business page, because business pages are not all businesses. They're entertainment. The people set up a business page for their brand. It doesn't necessarily have to be the tire shop down the road. So I don't know how it's going to work. I don't want that to happen. I do not want to have to go to another tab to see just business pages. I would rather have it mingled in with what my friends are sharing. And it's like the watch tab. The watch tab is useless. That what they recommend me to watch is stuff I would never in a million years watch. So why they recommend it, I have no clue. Like what drives that, what algorithm helps them pick what you want to watch, but they're wrong. So I can only imagine what's going to be in that Explorer feed.
Well, neither can I at the moment, but it is interesting that they're continuing to try and monetize and manipulate us, aren't they? And how that will end up, I mean, they'll make more money. I mean, that's what they're good at. We don't notice it.
No.
Go on then.
The more idea on the Facebook business side would think, okay, well, we'll make more money because people have to pay more to get their stuff seen. But if you are on the Facebook Explore side and you pay to play, shall we say, does that mean your stuff now goes into the news feeds with the friends?
Yes, it does.
That's not what it said.
Yeah, that's what I read.
I read as all the business stuff is going to stay in the business side unless they've already liked your page.
I don't know. They're kind of pulling away from.
But think about that for a second.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you get sponsored posts. That really, how would you ever find out about a new business? That doesn't make sense.
You gotta go explore.
Whenever nobody's going to go look. If you give me a newspaper that just has ads in it, guess where it's going?
Well, think about it, though.
Well, I take it down, and it would be bedding for the chickens.
If the viewership goes down on the ads, they're going to stop. They're going to start spending less money on the ad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the viewership will go down. Nobody's going to look at it. My understanding from reading the Medium article, and I would have to go read it again because I read through it quickly, was that if you pay to play, then you would show up basically as sponsored content in the news feeds. And it didn't say anything about them having to have liked the page. So, I don't know. Maybe nothing's going to change for us as far as.
Well, think of it this way: the TechCrunch came out 16 hours ago, and it starts off. Facebook has caused a 60 to 80% drop in referral traffic to news outlets in 6 countries due to a test that they removed the page posts from the news feed and relocated them to a separate, hard-to-find Explore.
Oh, yeah, it is hard to find. It's buried. I found the Explore feed on my page and just showed Steven where to find it. It's absolutely buried. I mean, the watch tab is at least at the top.
If you lost 60 to 80% of your referral links, that doesn't mean I'm going to pay more so that people see them. It depends how much I have to pay. If I have to start paying higher, where it starts talking back towards traditional numbers, I'm not going to do it.
It's going to be interesting to watch over the next year to see how it goes.
I'm thinking like, let's go back to 2004 and 5 when Facebook kind of really started out on the public side. Think of the title it went. It went from just Facebook profiles. Then they started adding fan pages, they were called. Mm-hmm. And every time you posted on a fan page, anybody who liked the page saw it.
Yep, that's true.
Then the groups started coming involved. Then the fan pages turned over to business pages. Then the ads started coming in, and it started to decrease. I mean, I'm watching this timeline of Facebook, and they say they're not a media company, but now they're bringing in the live streaming. Now they're bringing in the watch tabs. They're doing all this stuff. But think about in the past 9 months what they're trying to do. They're now trying to bring in a resume service to go up against LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
They are going into the real estate market because they're going to have it where the MLSs can now upload all the listings of the housing. They have eBay and Amazon and those guys where they're doing their marketplace.
Well, I think, that's what makes it difficult to define what kind of business Facebook is, because it is basically it's a conglomerate of businesses. It's several businesses all rolled into one under one domain, under one name, but it is a bunch of different types of businesses. So, that makes it difficult to define, and then it makes it tricky in the legal system to, because they have to be careful about what kind of precedents they set forth whenever they make these rulings and decisions. So it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be interesting to watch. And someone said, is pay to play a bad thing? No, I don't think it's a bad thing, unless you make it to where one of the great things about social media in general has been that it has to some extent leveled the playing field for large and small businesses to compete against one another. And not just businesses, we're talking about people interested in entertainment, music, and all kinds of things. To be able to reach an audience, to reach your market, it kind of leveled that out. And if by going pay to play, that goes away, then I think that is a bad thing.
Exactly. If the pay to play is not going to be helpful for audiences, for the small guy, I'm not talking about the big boys. Big boys can pay to play anywhere they want. But the small guys, where it was starting to evening it out, where they can get their stuff out, either hyper local or whatever. Mm-hmm. If that starts to go away, what is social media to them then?
It becomes just like any other media to them. It becomes out of their reach. Something that they can't afford to use for their business. And, that's one of the reasons in my prediction for 2018, I mentioned Facebook groups. Mm-hmm. I think Facebook groups will become more and more important to small businesses, and especially people who have a niche, because as the pay to play comes into play and becomes more prevalent, that's going to be a great way for you to continue to market to people who want to see what you have to offer.
Well, the great thing, and I saw there was a question that just recently came on the screen about Facebook groups. The great thing about Facebook groups is right now is that pretty much all the posts, you're notified when things are going on in that group. I mean, there might be some that slip through that you don't see, but pretty much you get notified about posting in a group. Now, what's great about groups is that you can market in them free. You can just post in them if it's your group. Mm-hmm. You can put in whatever you want in there. So you don't have to spend the ad. You don't have to do all that stuff. You can set up questions to join the group so that you only get certain type of people that you want in the group that are looking for those things. I mean, there's so many avenues for groups, and groups are great right now, and those are going to be the buzzwords, like you said, for the beginning of 2018.
Yeah, I think
in the back of your mind, Facebook knows that too.
Oh, I understand that. But I say for now, and I think through 2018, Facebook groups will be a great avenue for people using social media. And even if you don't get all the notifications, and sometimes you get them, they just get buried in all the other stuff. I get so many notifications. If you really want me to see something, you better send me a message. Because
well, yeah, I mean that's the thing. If you've got a ton of posts going through, then you're going to miss the notifications.
Mm-hmm. But the great thing about groups is it's all right there. So you go, if you have a group that you really like and it's engaging and you're enjoying it, you're going to go check it several times a day. So you're going to see everything that gets posted
and
there.
Search the group with the little search box.
I know, isn't that awesome? You can search business pages too. Some people don't know that.
That came around this year, but groups have always been that way. Plus, though, groups you can add document files.
Right.
There's a lot of extra things involved in groups.
And Facebook is pushing that community aspect as they're giving us some new tools all the time to use in there as well. It's interesting. I really expected some of the tools that they rolled out earlier this year to have been available to all of the groups that were under that certain category, and they're still not. I still don't have units in most of my groups.
Yeah.
I've noticed the education. I think they started it, and I think they're doing away with that.
So they're not looking then to compete yet.
Tools.
With Udemy and that kind of thing. But wait, they'll get around to it.
Well, anything is possible. Just to come back to Stephen's comment for a moment. Stephen in Blackpool, in Lancashire, north of England. It is a situation that you don't see all the notifications of groups. If you've got a very busy news feed, they won't fit in there. And our friend Tanya, who Tina and I have had on the show, did a test, and she posted 3 different times during the day within the group and said, "Did you get notified?" Yeah. And the response was, well, it'd be interesting to actually speak to Tanya about this and find out what the response actually was. But it was an experiment she did because she wasn't sure that people were seeing notifications in their timeline. So,
and I think, people from the beginning, and Robert will remember this, people who haven't been playing on this platform as long may not realize this, but now I lost my train of thought. Woo.
It's okay. Well, why your train of thought's coming back? We'll stay with Facebook, which is where we are today.
It was Facebook related, but now it's just gone.
No worries. Facebook screen sharing arrived from nowhere, as these things usually do. And first impressions were, well, nobody's raving about it.
Nobody's raving about it because you can't swap between yourself. Now, there are ways around it. There are hacks that we figured out already. But you cannot swap with Facebook native direct screen sharing with you and a screen share. So because you can't use that swap yet, it's not going to be very easily used and accepted so fast. But, and I know Carlos just wrote something on there too about nobody's going to use it. But I saw an article this morning that may change that.
Okay.
I'm looking for it real quick. Hold on, because I want to read part of it. And that's about live sports.
Okay. I think that the thing is that we talked about, before we came on, Tina, we talked about where Facebook is headed with live video.
There it is.
Yeah. Okay, Robert.
I just got it. Facebook tests live video producer tool.
That's what we have
to
talk
about.
Multi-camera and GFX features. That's different.
You just led us to our next item on the agenda.
See, you're psychic. You're definitely psychic.
Stephen and I do this. I do this for Stephen a lot, actually.
The feed, yeah. And I pick it up and run with it, as we both do.
That's different than the screen share.
Oh, different experiment entirely.
I will argue the point that there will be people who use it simply because there are people who are not tech savvy, and it's the simplest way for them to use screen sharing. So those people will use it. That's the same reason that people use it.
A webinar in an event or private group. Facebook right on it, put your PowerPoint slideshow on, talk over, you're done.
Yeah, there will be people who use it because they don't want to deal with a third-party application to be able to do what we do.
But how would you get the contact names and addresses?
Well, I already had that in my head how you can do it.
Okay. No, you don't have to share now. You don't have to share.
ManyChat.
Yeah, chatbots.
Yeah.
Chatbot. You set up a chatbot on your screen share, and they put in a keyword, and it goes right into Messenger, and you get all their information, and they're opted in.
Okay.
Steven's like, okay, that would work.
Right. But I mean, it is a product in development, as is the Facebook producer or production studio, as I've called it, which is effectively a ManyCam lookalike because you can divide the screen into 2 or into 4, and as you say, you bring external cameras in.
Well, isn't it just like when Twitter brought out Periscope Producer?
Mm-hmm.
Basically, Facebook's coming out with their own version.
Yeah, I think, my fear is that Facebook will close its API where we can't use the third party once it rolls out its proprietary. And I hope that doesn't happen.
Me too.
They're never going to close the API for a different reason. They always want people to invent things for the better.
And then they can copy them. There is one thing. There is one thing which is totally in Facebook's favor, and the people using the API have got to abide by it in order to broadcast direct to Facebook. You are not allowed to produce a piece of software which hosts a show which goes direct to Facebook on mobile. You can do it on desktop, but the mobile market is 100% owned by Facebook, which is why there are no technical reasons why we cannot start a Belive show from a mobile. Okay? There is a requirement which is put upon all developers that they do not allow people to do this. Yeah? So you've got to start a show from desktop, be it Windows or Mac or Unix, wherever you're coming from.
But there are people that do things. Yeah, Carlos is saying it right now. If you do Wirecast from somehow, there are ways you can set up going from your
but
phone.
Watch the phrasing here. But Wirecast and Go does it anyway, which means that they've made a decision to do it, even though they're not supposed to.
Yeah. And you can do it from your iPad.
Well, an iPad to me, and I think it really is a discretionary word. The iPad is an iPad a computer like desktop, or is it more of like a phone?
No,
I personally look at it as a computer.
Yeah, and switcher. Yeah,
switcher you can do from your phone too.
Okay,
there are a lot of people who do a lot of things. Don't on Facebook even that violate Facebook's terms of service. Doesn't mean they ever get caught. Doesn't mean they end up in Facebook jail. Bet you might.
They have to be reported. It has to be reported and to the right person, because terms of service, you're not supposed to only do business on your personal profile.
Yeah.
How many people do it?
A lot, yeah.
Yeah, but we're talking about here the right to use the API, and if Facebook decide that you're misusing the API and going against what they say, then that's your business gone. There's no comeback. There's no second chance when you're a business actually providing a service through the API. You screw it, you don't get 14 days in jail, you get stopped. Which is exactly why Belivetv will not be broadcasting.
That's what I should have went for Halloween. I should have got a little police costume and had myself as the social media police.
Just the Facebook police, it's the worst.
That would be a good costume. No more friending for you. 14 days, sit in the corner.
Well, it's one of the funniest things to me is on your own page. Now, this is your own business page, and you're going back to reply to everyone who has commented on your Facebook Live, because that's the nice thing to do, right? But if you do it too much, you can't do it anymore. They cut you off. I'm like, it's my page. I'm not spelling my own page.
I get warnings when I write the happy birthdays. Because I have like almost 5,000 people, so I may have 20 birthdays to write out. So I'll do it early in the morning and go, happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday. And if I get to number 12 and it's like, you're moving too fast.
Yep.
I'm like, hello, I'm on a time thing here.
Well, a lot of this is run by, algorithms and software, and it's not perfect. It's not a human that's sitting there and making judgment. It's just based on I'm trying to keep us, it's really trying to protect us as consumers of Facebook from being spammed. And so we appreciate that, but it really, it's not human.
Those happy birthday spams are really hard to do.
Well, I tell you what, I love everybody who said happy birthday to me, but oh my God, it took me like a whole day to say thank you to everyone. I'm okay with like a collective happy birthday.
Put one post on if you want to wish me happy birthday. Write it in the comment below.
That's right. Just put a +1.
No, that's Google. Don't say +1.
Whatever. Just like it. Like that post, and I know that you meant happy birthday. How about that? Nobody will say happy birthday to me next year.
Well, you just told your friends that they're boring, and now you're telling them
you're boring and you're annoying too. You can unfriend me. It's okay.
I was going to bring up a topic today, and you've just hit the nail on the head, because do you have to be controversial to bring people into a live show?
No. not in my opinion.
It doesn't hurt.
It doesn't. I don't think it does. But I don't think you necessarily need to be a shock jock of the video world either. All right. Okay. Where are we going next? I think I just want to revisit one thing, and that's the best of 2017. What's to come in 2018? I'm going to actually post it again so that people can see it. One of the things that always never ceases to amaze me is when things happen coincidentally. Serendipity, it's called. Mm-hmm. And when we did the show last Monday, for the first time ever, I spoke to Mr. Ian Anderson Gray. And directly after the show, we became friends and chatted again. And now we appear together in the best of 2017, what's 2018. Now, is that serendipity or not?
He's a wonderful guy, and also his partner on his show that he does every Monday mornings, 9 o'clock your guys' times, Julia Bramble. Because she's in it also, and they're wonderful. I've known both of them for a while, and Ian knows his stuff. He's really got his tech stuff down.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was amazed to actually speak to him, because he's up there.
No, he's a normal. But you know something? He's there. I understand what you're saying. He's known that way. But when you talk to him, he's just the average person. He's not like Carlos Phoenix. I mean, Carlos, you know I'm kidding.
I love the levels, like you said, because there are people who, I've been doing this for 20 years, but I'm not Mari Smith. And part of that's by design and part of that's by luck, I guess. I don't know. She's put a lot of hard work in, but I never focused on building my personal brand. And now maybe that was a mistake. Maybe it wasn't. I've always just focused on doing work for my clients. Mm-hmm. And this was a side hustle for me for a really long time. I've only been in the last 4 or 5 years doing this kind of as my main thing. So I never focused on that personal brand. So, just because somebody is up here in terms of fans and how well they're known doesn't mean that they know any more than the person who's down here, or that they can do a better job for you. They probably cost more because they are up here.
Right. Okay, I agree with that in general, but in specific, Ian Anderson Gray is known for knowing stuff, not for being famous.
Right. Well, I wasn't pointing.
But it's also what Tina's saying is, because Tina and I have had these discussions like 6 months ago, where I was on her back saying, "Will you get out there and start trying to get more business for yourself? You need to brand yourself. You need to push yourself." Ian's a big blogger.
Yeah.
And Ian's been blogging a long time. So he's built a reputation of just getting his information out there, that he knows this stuff. As a person, he's just the normal everyday guy.
Yeah.
But he's put his effort and time into it. So what Tina's saying, she would get clients and do the work, but she never would brand herself even more.
Yeah.
To push yourself to get even more.
There's a lot of people out there like that that just put the work in every day. They go to work, they work for their clients, and they do a great job. They just haven't worked on building their brand for whatever reason. Maybe it's a side hustle. Maybe they just don't have time because they're building this other, building and working off of referrals, which is what I did for years. But that's, I'm not trying to take anything away from the people who have built those brands. I think that's great. I think Mari Smith is amazing. She knows her stuff. Ian knows his stuff. Everybody that's on the list that you have, and this was kind of the point that I wanted to make, is that there's such a breadth of people on the list that Robert has shared.
It's a spread. It's a spread of different types too.
And just because you recognize a name doesn't mean that that name that you recognize is the person who has the most experience or even has the largest, makes the most money at this. It just that person's just done probably the better job of branding their self as an individual because you recognize the name. And everybody recognize. A lot of people know Joel Comm. They don't know what the hell he does. They have no clue what he does, but they know the name because he's everywhere and he has been for years.
And Carlos is saying
that was why I liked the list of people that I had in it, because there was some names people would know off the top of their head, mm-hmm. and then there was names some people may know, but some people may not know. It was kind of, I pulled from a lot of different, and they're not all social media geeks. They're not all social media people.
Right.
They're people that use social media for their business, maybe. Like Tom Ferry, he's extremely well known in the real estate community. Outside the real estate community, nobody knows him.
No. That's a bit like Stephen Aitchison.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The man with 3.5 million followers on Facebook. He's not known in his native country.
Yep.
He can go shopping.
I remember when you had him on. It was like, there's nobody in my country that follows me.
Yeah. And a more self-effacing person you couldn't find, but he's built up a 3.5 million following and a brand, and more power to him. But he's a genuinely nice chap.
There were a couple of people on the list that I didn't recognize, and we're pretty engrossed in this whole thing, and so at least. There's no telling how many. There's so many people out there who do social media, either as a part of something else. They have a marketing company, or they're in real estate and they use it as an extension of what they're doing, or it's just solely what they do is social media. There's so many of us, and I love seeing Robert and other people who kind of shout them out. And we cannot serve. And I've said this a million times. All of us still cannot service everyone who needs our help. And so
like Jordan Molson. I never met him till 3 months ago. And I was amazed. He's a great guy.
There's always something to learn. And like I said, I've been playing around with this stuff for as long as it's been around, and I learn something new all the time. And sometimes I learn stuff from newcomers. Mm-hmm. And you know why? Because they haven't trained themselves yet. So they're open to learning things that I've kind of closed my mind off to.
Blinders on, like Steven is saying.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. And sometimes, Tina, you can actually start a brand by accident.
Yeah, that happens too.
That happens too. And case in point, as I drop down for a minute, and I'll come back.
Well, where did you go?
Belivetv 5? I knew that was going.
Yeah, definitely created on accident. We had an idea and a plan for a specific product that was Belivetv 5, but we didn't have plans for this to kind of extend beyond the Udemy course and helping people use Belivetv, and it has. So that's really cool. And so now why. Another reason why I don't spend time building my personal name. You're Gilberting. What are you
doing? As Robert's Gilberting.
Yes, this is hysterical.
I'm just going to drop you down for a minute, Robert, until you actually come back. Okay? Right. So I'm going to drop Robert down, and he's gone. And we're back, and as we say hello, Corinda, Jason, and everybody who's joined us today. And Robert is back. Hello again.
What?
Can you see that?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Of course we can. Yeah.
No, you froze, and I'm sitting there going, I don't know, and I'm watching the little thing that says resolving host.
What in the world? Now what's the dinging?
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
You're back. I don't know where that's coming from. And Corinda's going to start a new show in 2018. Wish you every success, Corinda. And good luck.
Yeah.
And if you need any guests,
there's a lot to look. Yeah. I was going to say, there's a lot to look forward to in 2018. It's the craziness that happened in 17 is just going to get even crazier in 18.
Well, it's been fun for me to watch because I'm pretty new to this whole live streaming thing. You know, I didn't start doing this till I got on Belivetv, and here I am. I've done, you know, not said I've never done anything live because I had for news, but I certainly didn't do what I would consider live streaming like we do now. And to seeing just since I've started really getting into this in February, the number of businesses that have actually latched on to live and are doing live, and even small businesses, it's been a lot of fun to watch. And it's been a lot of fun to watch the evolution of shows as people become more comfortable on camera.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed, yeah. Yeah, and on the Belivetv day, we saw the shades of that, didn't we? We saw people have just started, and people have been doing it for a long time, and it's only with practice at this particular arena of live video. It's only by practice you actually become natural and at ease.
It's interesting too to see how some people are great on. I mean, they're great camera presence. They just have that personality that's engaging, but they completely miss the production side of it. They're not bringing comments on. They're not interacting with it. They're just projecting themselves. So you see a lot of that too. It does take practice to be able to handle all the controls and engage the audience and bring those comments up and stay on an agenda, which nobody does. Because,
what agenda?
Yeah. What agenda?
Tina,
Well, the three of us together, there's no chance for an agenda.
Tina, anytime I come on, have you ever stayed on agenda?
Nope.
You know, it was interesting when we had the Belivetv birthday bash. You heard that over and over again. Don't go on unless you have a purpose. Like, have a purpose before you go live. Have a purpose before you go live. We have a purpose, but it just goes out the window when we go live, as does most people.
The purpose should be more of a generic, general purpose. The agenda is more specific, but when you're live streaming, you cannot be so blinded and stay completely only on the agenda because a technical difficulty pops up. Somebody asks the question. All of a sudden, you look in the chat and it's like, "Oh my God, Tony Robbins is in the room." You know, it's like
that'll be the day.
But you know, but it's boring when people do that because we saw it. We got to see that during the 14 hours or 16 hours, whatever it was, of live broadcast. You did see people who stuck strictly to the agenda, and I think part of that's because they knew that they were on a very strict timeline. But it's not engaging when you do that, when you stick to an agenda and you try to rush through it. Not to say that you shouldn't at least make a point to put your call to actions up 2 or 3 times during the time that you've allotted for yourself to be on, but don't be so stringent that you don't engage with your audience, and be willing to go off in another direction. And if you know your subject matter, what you're talking about, you should have no problem with going wherever the road leads you.
That's the purpose. It's not that you have to come on and say, "Hey, I'm only going to talk about Facebook Live ads today." No, it's about you're a social media person. Come on and talk about social media.
Go where your audience takes you, which may not be ads that day.
Well, indeed. And Carlos, Jason's saying he needs to speak to Carlos, do a show with you about CC on video. And YouTube are now hot on this. It's said that 30% of your ranking on YouTube is down to your closed captions. Yeah. And so I thought, right, okay, I wasn't going to do a 60-minute show and closed caption it because that way lies madness. But I thought there's a 5-minute show there. I'll do that. Or a 5-minute section, and that went okay because it understood most of it. But then I got to the show that you and I did last week, Tina. With
and they don't understand Southern, do they?
Well, let me tell you, they don't understand Southern, and they don't understand Lancashire. The person who came out best was Annie because it translated every word perfectly, every word.
Yeah.
You know,
I can only imagine what it came out for me. I've done that before for myself, and it's a riot. I mean, it's hilarious. If nothing else, it's entertaining.
But that's where things are going. Closed captioning.
I think it's great. You should do closed captioning if you can, because there is a whole audience out there that are hearing impaired. But not more importantly, but as importantly, most people watch video on silent, no sound.
I scroll through Facebook whilst I'm watching television, but obviously you can't have the sound on. So if you got like a video, let's take a CNN video. If it's captioned, then you can get the gist of the video without actually listening.
Right. I actually keep my media turned off on my phone. Like the sound is turned down on my media on my phone.
That's why you never hear people calling you.
Not the phone, not the ringer, just the media.
Right, I just want to come back to the point that Corinda made, which is a question for all of us. Talking about shows in 2018.
Now Stephen's freezing up.
I'm freezing. I'll be back in a second.
I can hear you
I'm
now.
back.
Talking
I'm back
about
now.
shows
You're back.
which is the best platform?
What will be the best platform in 2018? Right, okay. I've got to say, I'm going to not go for the obvious one, which we're on. I think the platform of 2018 is a platform called Lightstream. Not Facebook, it's Lightstream. Lightstream goes out to Facebook and it goes out to YouTube. It's 6 people on screen. It's coincidental that I'm interviewing the CEO next week. Just pure coincidence that. But Lightstream is one to watch out for. And if you are broadcasting to YouTube, then it's just simply fantastic.
It goes to Twitch as well and Mixer.
Yep, it does. It does. Yeah. It's got everything. All right, that's my bit. Lightstream.
I don't know because I don't have time, unfortunately, to play with very many of them. I think it depends on your purpose, what you're going live for. Is going to be one of the big things that determines what you use. I mean, we have the obvious, we have Belivetv, and we have live stream and the native platform. But then we also have Webinar Jam, which is completely different. We have Blue Jeans.
You have Zoom.
You have Zoom. So I think it depends on what you're doing, which platform you're going to want to use. I would probably still be using Belivetv as my primary because I know how to use it. I've pretty much mastered it at this point. It works for what I need it to do. And, I'm not sure for my businesses because I do this for businesses. I have to find the time to play with these other platforms. The 3 that I just mentioned, I've only looked at other people using them and I haven't actually gone in and used them yet. One of those may make sense for my funeral home business. I mean, we have funeral homes that want to live stream services. So Belivetv.tv it's probably not what we're going to use for that. It doesn't make sense for that purpose. I think it depends on your purpose, what you're planning on doing.
Robert.
Well, I'm curious, are we talking, and I guess if Corinda's still here, I'll answer both sides of the question because it could be taken 2 ways, actually. Which platform, as in which social media platform? Or which platform best to use, like a Belivetv, a Zoom, or one of those things? I mean, if you're saying the first one, where we're best platform, it's wherever your audience is going to be. So if your audience is on Facebook, be on Facebook. If your audience is not on Facebook, and they're on Instagram, be on Instagram. So I mean that's because the way I was reading the question, I'm like, he's saying best platform. But if you're saying the differences between Belivetv and Blue Jeans and LiveLeap and OBS and Wirecast and the 50,000 others that have come out the door, and I'm sure there'll be another 20 in January of 2018. Stevens are probably already getting emails about, hey, I want to try out my product.
I'm saying nothing.
I would probably say, listen, they all have the functions of the basic functions to do what you want to do. You have to try and see which is going to be more comfortable for you and which features are for you. I use Belivetv for my interviewing process. On the go, I'll pop on a Facebook Live. I've done it with Tina once where I was shopping once, and she's like, I can't go on. I'm on my phone. You were shopping somewhere, and I was shopping.
Yeah.
And went out and did something. I've used Blue Jeans very rarely, but I've used it. I think Belivetv and Facebook Live are the 2 to stay with right now. I think they're the strongest. But
as far as Facebook is concerned, yeah.
As far as Facebook is concerned, right. But we have to keep our eyes and ears open because you want to know something? If you have a Macintosh computer, excuse me, I'm aging myself. If you have an Apple computer, Ecamm is very good. I was told. I unfortunately do not have Apple machinery.
Yeah, I've
so
played with Ecamm. It is good. It's easy to use. It's $29, period. That's it. You don't pay a monthly fee with it. So it's very affordable and it is easy to use. I think that's something else, it does depend on the platform, which social media outlet you're going to, because obviously if your audience is on Twitter, you can't use Belivetv. It doesn't go to Twitter. So you have to figure out what your needs are and who your audience is. And then you also, if you are bringing other people in, if you're doing, I don't know, live training for a business and you're going to have to teach some people how to use this platform so they can go live and do their training, how easy is that to teach the person to use? How easy it's to bring a guest on if that's something you need to do? Now, there's a lot of different things to look at to make that decision.
But even Carlos, it's a very easy program to use. It's not necessarily the best option, but it's very easy to use and low cost. So if you're just starting out, Ecamm is great, but it's only good for Apple.
Yeah.
Oh, now I know who saw. Oh Lord.
Yeah, we know who that is.
I'm so glad we have all the spots filled, Stephen, because he can't join us now.
It's this man.
Unless we switch to another platform.
True. Live stream is 6 people on screen.
Which one is it? Is it Blue Jeans? You can have like 100. Why would you ever need that? Why would you ever have 100 people on screen?
Look, it's hard enough sort of harnessing the energies of 3 people to go to 100. No,
I had no problem when we had 4 on Blab.
No, well, yeah. I mean, this is one of the things, and I mentioned it earlier this week. We have a show on Thursday mornings, which is 4 co-hosts, which means a la Blab, 4 people on screen all the time, and we kept that through Blab, through Fire Talk, through Huzza, and then Belive's only 3 on screen. So we're going to take a look at trying to be 4 on screen. So if you see 4 on screen on Thursday,
David does. I know David talks to. He does a show on. David, is it the after show you do where you can have more than 3 people? You have 4 or 6 people. I forgot which one you use. Is it the Webinar Jam?
It's Webinar Jam, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And
well, I gave a colleague of mine Webinar Jam, told him to go try it out for something they were going to use, and it was like over their head. So the barrier of entry in Webinar Jam must be a little bit more so than with Belive. And I think that's for people who've never done this in particular, not particularly tech savvy, they're going to go with probably the native app, whatever is the easiest for them to get on.
Yeah, I mean, David is fortunate because right time, right place. He bought into Webinar Jam when it first started, and he's been through several iterations of it, and he has it for life. Now, people joining Webinar Jam now, you've got an annual fee. I do like the platform. It's far more sophisticated, as you said, Tina, than anything we've got at the moment because it is a marketing platform. And it'd be interesting to see where that goes in 2018.
He's already, but David, you can't come on. There's only 3 people on the screen. He's like, give me a link. Let me get on there. Let me chat.
Webinar Jam there isn't a fee, as Steven said, but it's more affordable than what webinar software has been in the past. I mean, if you were around back with GoToMeeting and the stuff that, only enterprise people and large corporations could afford the cost of having that to utilize for their company. And one of the things that I'm loving, and maybe we should have mentioned this in the best of, one of the best things about 2017 is because of the proliferation of live streaming, all of this stuff is becoming much more affordable for businesses.
Very, very true.
I mean, if you think about it, Ecamm is $29.
Yeah.
But to do Belive for the normal person, just the average one, it's $20 a month.
Well, it's $15 a month.
It's down to 15.
Yeah. Okay. Now I'm going to put.
Is David here?
He's only here for 5 minutes. I'm going to drop down and bring David.
Oh, you got to put him on with me? Oh God.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The 2 people he likes to aggravate. There we go.
I thought I was going to get dropped out and let him come in. Now, with me and him on the screen, anything could happen.
And Steven can always drop me out, too.
Don't I spend enough of my weekend with you, David?
What a weekend that was.
Hey, I went 10 and 5. That's all I care.
So one of the things about Webinar Jam, Tina and others, is that they do offer, one, they've got a ton of tutorials. They've got an awesome support group that's out there. So if anything's above your head, join the Facebook support group. You can get people to sit there and do webinars with you, test things out. They also have a concierge service. So, I mean, if it is completely beyond you to even want to set up the most basic of it, you can actually do that type of stuff. Now, some of that stuff doesn't have a cost, but the tutorials don't.
The person I was helping also didn't know how to attach an image in email. So we're talking to somebody that really has zero tech savvy. So, you know, I just want you to know what scale we're talking about with the person who could figure it out.
And so those type of people, I mean, you know, something like concierge services is definitely, you know, a direction that they should look into.
That's more like a bat phone than a concierge.
Yeah. Now, with that being said, I mean, if your main goal is to do something like go live to just Facebook,
yeah, you don't need.
I mean, honestly, I'm not going to sit there and tell you to go spend any amount of money to go live to Facebook at first anyway, no matter what platform's out there. I'm going to tell you to either use the native stuff or just, you know, you can use the Belivetv free option or something of that nature to get that type of stuff going. Because with all the troubles that we've seen throughout Facebook Live and especially most recently, no, that's not. And with Ecamm,
until you're ready.
With Ecamm and what they're doing, one, there's been a huge uptick of people joining the beta group, downloading the beta group, and since they announced the beta, because there's a lot of interesting stuff out there. And people are starting to encounter some issues. And it's really important. And so those of us that are more experienced and with like all the live video options that are out there, one of the things the Ecamm has always had is a way, it's called Call Recorder for Skype. And so the way Ecamm is allowing people to bring someone else on the screen is via Skype and using Call Recorder. Skype sucks.
I agree.
It's been a terribly inefficient, and that's shocking because Skype is like one of the originals.
Right.
I mean,
but you know what? You just said the key thing. It's like Google Hangouts. They were one of the originals. They never upgraded.
I mean, Skype was
upgraded them and kept up with the technology.
But Skype was before Google Hangouts even.
Mm-hmm.
And they they don't do anything with it.
I've always hated Skype. I've never been a consumer of Skype. I don't use it. And you know,
and I've used it very little. The only reason I've ever had in the last few years a Skype account until recently was because I dealt with people that were overseas.
Well, that's what I was about to say.
And that's what they love.
Some of my clients who have difficulty using Belivetv or Webinar Jam, which is a little more complicated than Belivetv, granted, will use Skype. I've gotten a lot of people away from Skype and over to appear.in because it's so much easier and it's a more stable, prettier. Everything about it's better than Skype. And so I've gotten a lot of people moved over to that.
I mean, back in the day, we're talking 2000s, early 2000s. Skype was the go-to because it was the only one around, and all my clients used it, and it used to be used for customer support. And because it was designed back in the days of, well, just post-DOS, it doesn't have any demands at all, which means that we get the internal question is, I can go live on Skype. Why can't I go live on a big platform? And it's because its history is so long that it ran with a dial-up modem. You know, I mean,
and then Skype and Ecamm being a Mac-only software at this time, and Skype is even more inefficient on Macs because of their inability to accurately use CPU with a Mac and all that type of stuff. It's just people's systems. You know, one of the things that people are finding out, and this is just true of a lot of things. You would find this out if you used Wirecast or OBS or anything else it requires more power, and the more you're trying to do. all of a
Right,
sudden
whilst-
now you're doing all the transcoding on your system. And if you bought the lowest end computer, if you're running a MacBook Air, those are some of the people that are running into a lot of issues. And it's because you got a lower end system. Even a lower end Apple product is only going to handle so much. There's no miracle that can be worked when the software itself is just coded horribly. Now, Skype has a new preview beta, whatever, Skype 8 that's out there. And I've downloaded and installed it, but I have not played with it yet to see if it runs any better.
Indeed.
Those are the different things. And that's one of the nice things about something like Belive is that you're not doing any transcoding on your system. It does give you the ability to do certain things like share images and have multiple people on screen and all those different things. And, baby steps is really what people need to take.
That's what we're trying. That's what we're trying to do. And just for a moment, David, I could drop you down into the lobby, and then I'll bring you back up in a second. Just give me a moment. And by the miracle of Belivetv, welcome back, Robert. I know you've got to rush off, but I just want to say thank you for joining us today. And where can people find you?
Best place always on Facebook, The Social Leader, the website with thesocialleader.us. You both know you're in the article that was out yesterday. Yeah. Definitely it's definitely a read because it's a lot of different point of views of what's to come and what was the best for this year. So
yeah, it's a great read. Some good people in there, and I'm honoured to be in there. Tina.
Yeah, me too. Thank you. I appreciate.
No, thank you guys for being involved. That's all.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to get going. I will talk to you guys real soon.
Yep.
Okay.
Bye.
Take care. Bye. And we bring back David. He's waiting for the call. Just a minute. Oh, wait a minute. I clicked the wrong button there. I meant to click that button. Right.
What?
Sorry about that, David.
Not sure what Carlos is talking about. Not worth the investment. Do you know what he's talking about?
Yeah, Skype hardware is expensive and used by television channels. Yeah. It's not worth the investment for mere mortals. Right. Okay. David, when's our next show? I knew I put you on the. You knew I'd put you on the spot if you came in. Right. Okay. So while David's
our
thinking
next show, you and me, or our
You
next
and me.
show is in when's the next time I'm going on, or
Yeah. Well, the next time you go on is Friday.
I really don't
after
know
show.
very well, so I don't know if that would work out.
Right. Okay.
Tennessee and all, it's hard to do.
Right. I'm confused now, but that's regular on the live broadcast. Right. Okay.
Who's when you say when is our next show? Are you talking about you and I?
LVS 17.
LVS 17. Well, I thought we were going to start back up this month, and it just didn't work out that way for various different reasons. So hopefully we're shooting for November.
Well, that's
we'll
next
round
week,
the
David.
year out, and then take the first quarter of 2018 off. And
right. Okay. Just to say, it would be good to get back together. I'll leave it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I miss it.
Well, it's just good to have a chat. Right. Okay. Tina, would you like to round the show off as we're overrunning?
We're over. Well, sure. So Stephen and I will be back Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern. I'm on Central. For Belivetv. And Stephen, you'll see him between now and then. So what do you got tomorrow, Stephen?
It's our day off tomorrow because it's a dare.
10.
A dare is on
10 show.
Okay.
Or broadcasts or
So
what?
yes, tomorrow is
Steven Healey Network. And he's asking when we're going to get back on camera. I don't know when you're going to have the time.
I can always find the time, David. It's basically, tomorrow is a Dares Day. So a Dare is on, if you want to watch, at 1:30 a.m. Eastern, which is 6:30 a.m. in the UK. And next week we've got fun. I just want to be prepared for this because the clocks in the UK change on the 29th of October.
oh, wonderful.
And your clocks do not change until the 5th of November, correct?
Yeah, I'm already confused, so it's okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, Corinda, have a good show. Yeah, I mean it's the week. We've got 2 weeks a year when it's totally a mess because the time difference isn't well. Let's see what happens. We might turn up at different times and do 2 shows. Who knows?
It's highly possible.
I recall in the spring it was rather entertaining.
It was, and we're going to revisit it next week.
Did you have anything else on the agenda that we have to talk about?
We had to talk about. Well, we've covered Facebook screen sharing. We've covered Facebook Explore. We've covered the new Facebook production suite, which has been seen and is being used. Last run for best of 2017 and what's coming 2018. We've done Facebook Watch, and we also did a quick overview of Webinar Jam. My agenda is full. That was it.
Awesome.
Brilliant.
We made it through. That's a miracle.
That's a lot. You've been on for what, an hour and a half?
An hour and 11 minutes.
Yep.
So yeah, it's time to go. So thanks everyone.
Take care. See you all next week.
Bye.
Cheers from all of us. And